Fall is directed by Scott Mann and stars Grace Fulton, Virginia Gardner, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Two best friends find themselves stuck on top of a 2,000-foot tall radio tower trying to survive the elements, the animals, and themselves. So my thoughts before having seen this movie were actually kind of weird. Every single time a trailer for this movie played during the previews of other films, especially when I saw those previews with other people that I knew, I actually got really interested. It looked like, I don't know, it looked interesting. It really got my anxiety going. But on the other hand, the people that I always saw those movies with always had the sort of scoffed reaction like, no, there's no way this movie's going to be any good. It's going to suck. It looks ridiculous. And honestly, I couldn't disagree more with those thoughts. And thankfully, my gut anxiety feeling actually paid off. This is a very entertaining movie, a very flawed movie, and we will get into those things later, but in essence, I was entertained by it. And I think, in my opinion, the biggest payoff of the entire film was the fact that everything that I thought would give me anxiety just watching the trailers actually gave me a huge amount of anxiety watching the film. All of that centering around the tower. Just the cinematography of how massive this structure is. The sound design of both the tower itself creaking and crumbling and the wind just blowing. The movie truly did give me anxiety in these moments where we were just awing at just, I don't know, the horror and monstrousness of this inanimate object, where I was just sort of rocking in my seat because it really felt like I was there. I could practically feel every single gust of wind our main characters felt. And speaking of our main characters, the two actresses portraying them are fantastic. Not only do they have some great chemistry with each other, but when they're scared, they are petrified, and that sort of emotion really does bleed off the screen. You feel their shock, you feel their exhaustion, you feel their absolute terror, and it's amazing. The gambit of emotions that these two actresses portray, especially Grace Fulton, who is incredible in the movie, must have been absolutely tiring. And the makeup used on them to portray just how long they've been in the beaming sun. You not only feel that you are in the same situation as these characters because of the cinematography, because of the sound design, and because of the acting, and because of the makeup, but also because of just how surprisingly smart they are. These two characters know when to stay patient, know when to stay calm, and they know how to think on their feet, especially in the very limited surrounding that they are placed in. The characters never feel annoying because they always feel like they're doing something sensical. For the most part. At the very beginning, before they're in danger, sometimes they'll mess around and do something nonsensical, but when they're actually in the thick of it, they are in it full force with their quick thinking. So yeah, almost every single thing that I wanted out of this movie seems to be in place. So what's wrong with the film? The script. The script sucks. Everything on screen is amazing. The script, oh my god, where do I begin with this? Let's start with how the script portrays the characters, because all sense of caring that you have for these two people comes from just the performances of the two actresses and their chemistry together. The script does not care at all about these people. You barely know a single thing about these two people outside of a few key details that in essence is really just put there so that they can drag out the strandedness as much as possible. Thank God Fulton and Gardner were bringing their A game to this movie, because if they didn't, these characters would have been awful. Some of the dialogue is also very unnatural, especially with Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. Sadly, because God, I love Negan, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan in this movie is just wasted. The pacing is also all over the place, with the middle of the movie feeling too drawn out, but by the time we get to the last third of the film, it feels really freaking rushed. But what might be the biggest problem of this entire movie is nothing on screen, nothing script-wise, it's the rating. PG-13. Why is this a problem? Because it was obviously meant to be rated R. There is so much obvious dubbing where people will be heard saying freakin', even though, one, no one would naturally say freakin' that much, and two, sometimes you can see their mouth say an entirely different word. You know what word I'm talking about, but instead what you'll hear is the word freakin'. It wouldn't be that bad if it didn't happen just so much throughout the movie, but it does, and it's so obvious. So yeah, this movie's a bit of a mixed bag, but for the high expectations that I had for it, pun intended, I was actually pretty entertained. So much of this movie is incredibly effective. The acting is fantastic, the cinematography is beautiful, and the sound design is oddly captivating. But on the other hand, the script is so bland, the pacing is so all over the place, and the ADR is so hilariously obvious, the film feels held back. What could have been one of the most simple yet effective thrillers of the entire year just ends up being something that is entertaining but instantly forgettable. I'm going to give Fall a B. Well guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below. Would you ever climb this tower? This old rusty tower, would you ever climb it? The answer is no. No, you wouldn't. No, you shouldn't. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the best. And don't forget to click subscribe and click the bell icon down below to stay up to date on all things movie, all things TV, all things nerd.